Welcome to NBA Countdown, presented by Mountain Dew.
And welcome inside Studio H here in Los Angeles with the greatest Colorado Buffalo of them all. Chauncey Billups, the legendary leader of Michigan's Fab Five, Jalen Rose,
the original.
And a one-time college student, Paul Pierce.
Inglewood's finest.
Nope.
No, he's from Massachusetts.
No, you don't know where you're from. You're a man without...
Claimed by the Patriots.
Round 3. Sixers, Raptors. That's in less than an hour. Through 2, Toronto has pretty much looked like a championship contender led by Mr. Kawhi Leonard. The Sixers have looked like a multi-headed monster who could get winning contributions from Embiid or Simmons or Jimmy Butler. Series tied at 1 apiece. Team spoke this morning.
I'd rather be up 2-0, to be honest with you. It's not about one individual. It's about team effort. Mark's done a good job, and we've helped Mark. But Joel's an all-NBA center, all-star. He's a guy who can always get going at any time.
It's kind of hard to, find myself in a one-on-one situation, but he's a great defender. If they're going to keep throwing those double and triple teams, I got to pass the ball.
I don't like shooting threes. They just told me that, actually.
So
they just told me that.
Was that an example of maybe something that you saw as an adjustment, or is it just you were taking what they were giving?
A little bit of both. I think my guys were like, you got to be a lot more aggressive.
So, yeah, it's tied up. Joel Embiid, though, a bit of a non-factor. After averaging nearly 25 a game on 51% shooting against the Nets, he's now posting 14 on 7 of 25 shooting against Toronto. Marc Gasol, in particular, a big part of that, holding him to 2 of 11. You hear the points are down, the rebounds are down. Are we talking Joel Embiid's health here, or are we talking Marc Gasol?
Oh, we definitely not talking health.
Okay.
I'm not either.
No.
I'm not giving no pass like that.
Here's the thing. He's my second team All-NBA center, okay? You said he's averaging 14 and 7.
Yeah, down a lot.
And what we expect from the top players is he should come out and have a big night tonight, right?
Okay.
That's what I'm expecting him to do, because if he don't, you can't be the guy keying at the press conference when y'all win a game and then going against a lighter guy in the first round in Allen and Ed Davis, and then all of a sudden Marc Gasol get added to the team and he's shutting you down.
See, this is why I love the playoffs so much, because the great players, obviously they play, but adjustments are made, challenges are taken. Marc Gasol has been a defensive player of the year. Don't think that he wasn't ready coming into the series to say, I'm going to do the best that I can. But also, we talk about not being in the best shape that you could be in. He has to run to that three-point line to guard Mark, to guard Serge, and then they're double teaming him. It's just, this is the playoffs.
This is clearly an issue of his knee. We're talking about a guy who's been not good. No, wow. We're talking about a guy that has not only been good, he's been dominant throughout the regular season and in the first round of the playoffs. Now, we saw earlier where he's getting reports of knee soreness. Gasol could not guard this man. He's clearly one of the top 2 or 3.
Not one-on-one.
Top 2 or 3 most dominant players in the game today. He can shoot. He can go down low.
Top what now?
You mean centers?
You mean center?
Dominant players.
Dominant players.
You know that KD plays in this league along with James Harden.
KD could be dominant.
LeBron James.
And KD could be more dominant if he didn't have Steph. He could probably average more.
If was a fifth, Paul, we would all be hungover.
He's clearly a dominant player, and he doesn't look himself. He doesn't have the same lift. Clearly, it's an issue with his health. I'm
actually shocked that he's the one.
Hands down.
But you know what?
That's new.
He's an all-NBA player.
Facts.
For him to go.
Of course he is.
Yes.
That's why they're disappointed.
There's no way that you can give a guy who's so dominant on the block or outside.
So he can't have bad games. He can't have a couple bad games. It just don't happen.
A couple of bad games.
That's clearly has something to do with his health issues.
He's had health issues
even in bad games.
Career.
We've seen James Harden have bad games, and he's still putting up 35, 36 points.
That's what we go. That's what we want.
We can say that. We can say that about him. He can play bad when he's healthy and still can give you 25 and 12.
But he's not.
We need to see it tonight.
A lot has to do with his health, though.
Chauncey said
I'm not taking nothing away from Gasol. Gasol's a really good defender, not a defensive player of the year. Wasn't the defender he was a few years ago.
I agree with that.
One-on-one, and they're not even like trapping him.
There ain't no one-on-ones. This is the playoffs. Figure out my schemes. Figure my schemes out.
Also, a lot has to do with his personnel. You know, he doesn't have the necessary shooting at all times. So
here we go. Now we're going there.
It's easy to corral him in the post. If you don't have
Tobias Harris could shoot.
Yeah, Tobias Harris, but when you have Ben Simmons,
Jimmy.
Who is number 2 on that team, by the way?
To me, it's
Jimmy Butler to me.
To me, I agree with you, Jalen. It's Jimmy Butler. I mean,
okay.
In a league, like Paul said, this guy can dominate. Point guards and wings will bring you the more wins than big men can. So Jimmy being able to play both ends, and we've seen what he did in game 2.
Right.
He propelled them to a big-time win. So to me, Jimmy's their second most important player.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because go ahead.
I need to ask my final MVP brothers a question. So here's what I've noticed. When they know that Embiid's not going to play or he doesn't make shoot-around or he's hobbled, it seems like Jimmy's more aggressive and he gets off like he did in the previous game. When they both go into the game and they both know that they're going to play, it seems like Jimmy's been a diminished version of himself.
Well, there's levels to it. He got to know that Embiid is the number 1 option. There's levels to it. He understands it. When he's not in the game, then Jimmy knows he's the number 1 option. That's why.
And that's gonna get it done for him?
Seems like you should change that right now, playoff time.
Change what?
Just sort of that mental idea.
They shouldn't have to take turns.
Right. Like
y'all was in Boston. Y'all didn't have to take turns.
Embiid's presence,
y'all didn't take turns.
No.
Because of Embiid's presence, it allows these guys to be who they are. Because he commands so much attention.
I seen Jimmy Butler be Jimmy Butler before he came to Philly. I seen Tobias almost make an All-Star team with the Clippers. He's not making these dudes. There's no way he's making these guys.
They have a certain skill set, and they're really good players. But please believe, because of his presence, these guys like Tobias should be a better player for them.
We're not going to give them any sort of leeway as far as they haven't all been playing together forever. We're past that, right?
Well, part of the reason why they haven't been playing together since the trades is because Embiid was injured.
Right.
And so now that he missed a playoff game and he's back healthy, we just want to see him have a great game, play like an all-NBA performer. But in the first 2 games, let's give the Raptors their credit. They did a terrific job stopping one of the most lethal offensive centers that we've seen.
Like I said.
We're not kidding.
It's his health.
When we say part of that has been Kawhi, he's been a monster so far. 40 points a game, nearly 62% shooting. What's he going to do tonight? Something. Stay tuned. The Sixers, may or may not win it all. They absolutely matter. It's been a few controversial years building up to this point. Our Scoop Jackson's going to break it down, which way he thinks they're headed.
Kawhi back top 3, dog. Who? Kawhi back top 3.
You may think that you know something about the NBA, but I can tell you right now, compared to this next man, you do not. Right now, we're going to welcome in Woj from far, far away. Woj, I want to ask you about the Lakers. Still without a coach. We're about 3 weeks after parting ways with Mr. Luke Walton. The latest in that is what?
Michelle, they're choosing between Monty Williams, the Sixers assistant, and Ty Lue, the former Cavs coach. There's factions of support within the Lakers for both candidates. And ultimately, there are a lot of voices in this process in ownership, senior management, GM Rob Pelinka, and LeBron James. And certainly it is a factor in this search, that LeBron James's preference is with Ty Lue. They have history together. They won a championship in Cleveland. But I've been told LeBron has stayed out of this. He's allowed the team to go out, hire who you guys want. But I think they know in the organization that LeBron's familiarity with Ty Lue certainly is an advantage for him.
So Lakers being interested is one side of it. Of course, what do the guys want to do? Monty's met with both the Lakers and the Suns for those coaching jobs. In Phoenix, that job, is it very appealing to him?
Well, listen, Monty Williams is going to seriously consider that Suns job if he gets an offer from Phoenix. He met with their owner, Robert Sarver, last night in Philly. But here's the question that every candidate and every candidate's agent and everybody around candidates who are advising them about the Suns is owner Robert Sarver. And he makes this job far less appealing than it might be. You've got good young talent there. You have a chance to get a high lottery pick, maybe a Zion Williamson, a Ja Morant. But how Sarver has run this organization, the way he interferes, the way he meddles, the way he comes into coaches' meeting rooms, comes into the locker room, the way he interacts with players. There's a reason they're going to be on their 5th coach in 5 years. Their management group has spent a lot of time in talking to potential candidates and trying to convince them that Robert Sarver is going to change. He's going to do it differently. But not everyone is going to believe that. His track record speaks for itself.
They always say they're going to change, Woj. Nets point guard D'Angelo Russell cited Wednesday for marijuana possession at an airport. Now he is going to be a restricted free agent. I don't want to try to read too much into this, but does it affect his free agency prospects at all?
Michelle, it doesn't. He's been a model citizen for the Nets. He, made his first All-Star team this year, really helped will that team to the postseason, and he doesn't have a history of legal trouble. He's going to be sought after as a restricted free agent, and the Nets are going to really, I think, try to go the distance here to get a deal done with him before he even gets out into the marketplace. Nobody's appetite for D'Angelo Russell has changed over that episode last night.
That is perfect to hear. Woj, thank you so much. Jalen, you want to start off with some reaction here? Pick what you want.
Is it the 1960s?
Some parts of the world,
so
yeah.
He got cited for that?
Looks like he's having a great offseason.
Oh, my goodness. He needs it. You saw how he balled this year? That man joints on fire.
Listen, first of all, after this next deal, he won't have to worry about LaGuardia.
But you know who I blame?
He'll be in a private airport.
I was going to say, LaGuardia gets him again.
Where was he going?
I don't know.
I think he was going to Louisville. That's who I blame. Because he didn't trust
to the Derby,
he didn't trust that he could get what he needed there. So he felt like he had to take.
This is the part of the show where we all get fired. But we're not going to. Not today. We've got a bunch of shows ahead of us. We can tell you, however, that if you like the NBA, and I imagine you do, you should be watching The Jump. Rachel Nichols.